Humanities 320. History of Contemporary Music, 1955 to the present. This is video number 3, Music Vocabulary. Certainly not all, but just some of the words that we'll be using in discussing the music. It makes sense to use terms that other people use so that when you describe or discuss songs with each other for the rest of your life, you can use commonly used words, so no definitions are necessary. So let's go through a bunch real fast. By the way, on the Hub Pages article, you'll see them defined. I'm not even looking at those definitions. I'm just looking at the words as I hold them up on these little cards, and I'll give you my ad-lib definition. I'd like you to do the same thing when we get to the midterm or the final. I'll be asking you to use some of these same words or explain what they mean. Do not memorize the words that I've written because it doesn't matter. You should be able to give a common sense explanation using your own words because that's the same thing you'll be doing when you talk about music. So here's the first one, title and artist. The title is the name of the song. You can't make it up. The record company releases the official name of the song. Sometimes you might say, that shouldn't be the name, it should be something else. But we don't get a vote in that. That's the name that the record company releases for the song. The artist is the name of the performing group or the soloist in the song. Whoops, that's the wrong one. The next one is open. The intro mean the same thing. Intro is short for introduction. The open usually means what type of open. Can you talk over it? Is it thick or thinly orchestrated? And how long is it? Maybe it's 7 seconds before the vocalist comes in, or 7 seconds intro before the lead guitar comes in. The opposite of that is how does the song end, the close of the song, the outro, which is sort of the opposite of introduction or outro. There is no word outroduction, but the outro of a song is how does it end? And there's only 2 ways a song can end, and here they are. A song can either end as a cold ending or a fade ending. A cold ending is chords that make the song sound final. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, that sounds final. It's the end of the song. Many songs end with a cold ending. A couple of guitar chords or a vocal at the end, and it's over. Other songs just fade and fade and fade until you can't hear it anymore. That's a fade ending. The runtime is the length of the song. 2 minutes and 21 seconds is pretty short for a song. 6 minutes and 59 seconds is really long for a song. Most contemporary songs, hit songs, are between 3 minutes and 5 minutes long. Some are shorter, some are longer, but the vast majority, in almost all formats, are between 3 and 6 minutes long, let's say, the runtime. The composer is who writes the song. It's almost never the singer. Sure, there are some singers that write their own music, but very few compared to the many that are just singing other people's songs. Now that could be, whoops, before I get to arranger, the composer of the song could be someone who writes the music, and someone else writes the lyrics of the song. We'll talk more about that in a minute. The arranger is the person whose work is done before the song is ever recorded. They decide what instruments we play in the song, what instruments to use, what instruments to leave out, and what combination of instruments should be used where, and even what type of backup singers, if any, to accompany the main singer. The producer is like a director in a movie. The producer of a song is right there when the song is being recorded, and he has final veto power. He may tell the backup singers, stop singing in that point. He may tell the engineer, bring up more lead guitar during this part here. He may tell the singer, you're not sounding sad enough in this part. So the producer is really like, very, very similar to the director in a movie. They have final say over what the song should sound like, even over the artists themselves. The engineer is the operator of the equipment during the recording process. The board engineer, I don't mean B-O-R-E-D, he's not bored, he or she. They're board, B-O-A-R-D, meaning the control board operator, and they control the volumes of all the different instruments. It's not unusual for a song to have a mixing board like the one we have at Briarwood. Has about 15 faders on it. In a normal studio, there might be 30, 40, 50, or up to 100 different faders, each for a different instrument. It's kind of cool, and one or more engineers control all those volumes while a song is being recorded. These we won't define right now. They get a separate chapter for melody, a separate chapter for harmony, and a separate unit on rhythm. These are all of these are the 3 most important words in all of music because every song has some element of harmony, melody, and rhythm mashed up together to make every song unique. The vocal type is the song sung by a man, a woman, a group, or is it instrumental, which means nobody's singing it at all. Sometimes you'll have to be able to say, oh, that's a female vocalist, or that's an instrumental. common words to use. Lyrics are it's the same thing as words. The lyrics are what are the words in the song. And within the lyrics, you have two different things that can occur within the words of a song primarily. The main parts are the verses and the chorus. The verses usually continue the story. The chorus is the part that's repeated over and over and over again. And whether it's a hip-hop song or a jazz song or a rock song or a country song, almost any song that has words has some type of verses and a chorus. The chorus is repeated over and over and over again, usually with the same words and the same melody, while the verses may have the same melody, but change from verse to verse to verse. Most songs have 2 to 4 verses. There's some songs that only have 1 verse. There's a Bob Dylan song I can think of that has about 13 verses. But most have between most songs have between 2 and 4 verses. There's another part of music I want to talk about called a bridge. And again, I'll be bringing up examples of this as I talk about the different artists once we get into the different genres of music. The bridge usually happens right before the chorus. The bridge is where the entire melody of the song changes, sometimes into a different melody completely, and it delays the re-entry of the chorus till later on in the song. Very often the bridge will lead directly into the chorus. Some songs, I don't have a card for this, but some songs have a pre-chorus, where it's a bunch of words that are always followed by the actual chorus itself. And once we start analyzing verses and choruses in songs, you get a better feel for that. There's another technique used in many, many songs called a breakdown. It doesn't mean the song falls apart, but it kind of does. In many songs, maybe 15% of all contemporary music, there's some form of a breakdown where the instruments all go away except maybe the bass guitar or someone clapping. And the entire thickness of the song disappears, and maybe there's just the vocalist. There's just one instrument playing, and little by little it builds up, or all the instruments come back in at one, and it brings back the release of playing the chorus of the song again. That's the breakdown, because it breaks down and then builds back up. The term riff is often used as in guitar riff. You don't usually sing a riff, you usually play a riff. A riff might be a couple of notes played on a guitar, like the beginning of Layla from Eric Clapton, or Hotel California. Or certain songs have certain well-known riffs, or might be a drum riff, a certain combination of patterns that are very memorable within a certain song. 2 more. The next to the last is hook. The hook is generally the title of the song. If you only played 5 seconds of a song, to get people to make sure you knew what song they were talking about, you would play the hook. It usually is the title, but it's the most repeated part of the song that makes people instantly identify with it. What's the hook? What is the hook of the song is the most memorable moment of the song. And finally, the word instrumentation, which relates to what are the instruments that are actually used, and some people use instrumentation to refer to how thick or thinly orchestrated is the song. Is it thin, meaning there's just the guitar and a singer? Or is it thickly orchestrated, meaning there's a whole band playing and 20 guitars all overdubbed on top of each other and 50 vocalists? That would be thickly orchestrated, as opposed to, just someone snapping their fingers and singing. That's thinly orchestrated. That's our vocabulary words for now. Next assignment you'll get in the next video. Thanks.